Madini Mazimba, I'm back again. Now today I'm giving you a new episode of the best albums from Zimbabwe. Now what I've created this series because there are those people who are interested in knowing what Zim has to offer musically. So I just thought, let me compile, let me make a series out of this. And for each and every series, I'll be giving you 5 albums. Those albums which I think are just amazing albums. Those albums which definitely introduce you to how the Zim sound has shaped to be as it is, or where the Zim sound is at the moment. So for today, I have a mixed bag for you. I'm not really concentrating on one specific genre, but just a mixed bag. So not without wasting much of your time, let's get down to it. So the album I'll be talking about first is Shabini by the Bhundu Boys. Now this album was released way back in 1987 and is really sounding good up to this day. And you know what, if you always wondered why the Bhundu Boys are held on such high regard, are such an iconic group as we refer to them to this day, this is the album you should definitely listen to. And you know what, the Bhundu Boys were among the first to really get international recognition because of their music. You know, they went on to perform alongside Madonna, and this is the album that really jump-started all of that, with tracks such as Atistose, Bamnini Francis, Upenyu Wangu, Kuroja Chete. You know, this is definitely an album that a lot of people will enjoy even up to this day, 20 plus years after the album was released. It's definitely a gem. And you know what, if you want to understand Zim music, it's definitely one of the albums you must check out. Now, the second album I'll be talking about is King of Glory by Manyowa. Now, you know, this is a very, very well-made album. It's quite a recent album. It was released in 2015. And you know what, when Manyowa entered the scene in 2015, the impact she had on the gospel industry is just unrivaled. You know what, with her tracks, Ndomira Pamuri shooting to #1, Kune Mponesi shooting to #1, Tarisa did well on the charts, Amazing God also did well on the charts. In these past 3 years, you know, there's no other artist who has won more awards than Manyowa in the whole gospel industry. You know, if you're comparing the weeks she spent at #1, I think she has spent the most weeks at #1 compared to any other artist in these past 3 years. So this is definitely an album that changed, you know, that pushed gospel music to the next level. And if you're one of those people who want to understand where Zim music has reached at the moment, you know, this is one of those albums. This is a perfect example of an album that shows you the level that we are as Zimbabwean in terms of music. It's definitely a fantastic album. You know, get your copy, you won't be disappointed. The next album is Sabhuku by the late Jonah. You know, Jonah is one of those unsung heroes of local Zim music. You know, this guy impacted, you know, the way Zim music sound to this day to a level that a lot of us cannot even imagine. You know what, he was responsible for creating the mbira guitar, where he's imitating the mbira using the guitar. These days you may think that this is a normal thing, a lot of artists do that, but he was the guy who first did it, and he implemented it on the song Subbook, which is on this album. And it went on to influence a lot of other great artists. You know, Dr. Thomas Mafumo uses that sound, Dr. Oliver Mtukudze also uses that sound, and a whole lot of other artists use that sound. So it's one of those guys who has changed the local music industry to a level a lot of us cannot imagine, but at the same time, a lot of us don't even know that he existed. So, you know, when it comes to collector's item, I think this is one of those albums you must just have if you want to understand where Zim music came from. Those albums that really changed the sound of Zim music. This is one of those albums that changed the course of Zim music forever. So as a collector's item, you know what, I'll post a link below to where you can go and buy the album. You know, take a listen and enjoy. The next album I'll be talking about is Getting Personal with God 2 by Minister Michael Mahendere. Now, you know what, the Mahendere name is a name that is very much known in the gospel circles. You know, in the early 2000s, those guys were dominating the music industry. Then they disappeared from the music scene. And you know what, Minister Michael Mahendere, when he released this album, you know what, the Mahendere name came back, and it was on the lips of a lot of Zimbos because this album was just so well made. It's also another recent album. It came out in 2014. And you know what, it really established Minister Michael Mahendere as one of the best gospel artists we have in this country. You know what, this album contained tracks such as Momoyo, there is Higher Life, there's Vishanaka, there is Hallelujah. And you know what, if you listen to these tracks, this album is nearly 3 years old, but these tracks are still so much loved when you play them wherever you are, at social gatherings, family gatherings. They still love these tracks to a way that you may even think that this album is still very, very new. But you know what, it's already 3 years old. And that's what happens when you create good music that really touches the soul, music that's really well made from the lyrics, the instrumentation, everything. it really does not fade. It keeps on sounding very, very good, and this album really showcases that. And also, it's one of those albums that can show you where we are at as Zim music. The previous album, Subbook by Jonah, it showed you where we came from, how our sound changed, and this album is one of those albums that show you where we are at this moment. So it's definitely another fantastic album. I'll post the link below. You can go buy the album and you'll definitely be blessed. And the last album I'll be talking about is Chamhembe Volume 1. By this album, a lot of artists contributed to this album. Now, if you want to understand where Zim urban music really came from, this is one of those albums that was instrumental. It solidified and it proved to everyone that this urban sound is here to stay. And these young artists, they're also as good. They can really create those songs that can touch the old, the middle-aged, the young. And this is one of those albums that was instrumental in showing everyone what the young urban artists can do. Right now, if you come to Zim, you hear a lot of other genres such as dancehall. There's Zim hip hop, it's trying its thing. There's Zim R&B. There's pop. But all those urban genres, they all stemmed from this urban grooves movement. And at the height of the urban grooves movement, this was one of the most significant albums, the Chamhembe Volume 1. It contains such classics such as Nchakudza Say from Africa. That's a song that a lot of people love to this day. There's Zachose by KV. There's Mazirudo from XQ. There's Wayenda from Tererai. A lot of these artists, they really came together and they gave us a priceless album. And this album definitely proved where urban music came from. It was one of those significant albums. And to this day, it remains one of the most significant albums of the urban grooves movement. So, get a copy of this album, understand the local music, where we come from. And even if you're an aspiring artist, it's much, much more better if you know where you're coming from, if you know what the music you want to sing came from. And this is that album. This is one of those albums you should listen to. How they structure their music, the sound that they really showcased. Because at this moment when this album was released, they just proved to everyone that we have finally found our sound. We have finally found this Zim unique sound. And whether some agree or not, the success of Zim dancehall, the dominance it is enjoying right now, it is all because the urban grooves movement was successful. And this is one of those albums that really made the movement successful. So I'll post a link below. Buy this album, listen to this album, understand where the Zim urban music came from. You definitely won't be disappointed. It's an amazing album. That's it for this episode. Those are the 5 albums I wanted to share with you today. So I'll post a link below to where you can buy each of those albums, and I urge you, buy those albums. Be blessed, enjoy the Zim sound, and at the same time you understand where we came from, where we are at this moment. So feel free to post below in the comment section with other albums that you feel deserve to feature on this episode. Also, don't forget to press the like button down below. See you again next time.